Hold up, did you know that Obsidia's win rate has climbed from under 46% at launch to just about 53% in recent ranked data? With early stacks and late game power that's got the whole community talking, what's causing this sudden surge for MLBB's latest marksman? Stick around because we're peeling back every layer to find out. Welcome back to Mobile Legends News. Today we're spotlighting Obsidia once again, the newest marksman who dropped on September 17, 2025 with the massive Project Next update. She arrived with a unique mechanic system, a twist on the gold lane marksman stereotype, and players have been watching her trajectory closely. Some say she's already meta-shaping. From the moment Obsidia landed on the battlefield of the Land of Dawn, she entered into a dual identity of intrigue and uncertainty. Her kit, stacking bone shards, late-game bursts, mobility, and tethering via her ultimate, looked flashy. Yet many in the ranked arena were skeptical. According to Counter Hero Stats, early figures placed her win rate around 45.2%. Players questioned whether the payoff matched the build-up. Why the doubt? Because one of her central challenges with Obsidia is her delayed scaling and the activated stack mechanic. Unlike traditional marksmen who aim for early lane dominance or consistent auto-attack DPS, Obsidia must invest into her passive, generate bone shards by dealing damage, then unleash them via her basic attacks. That means early game she can feel sluggish. She lacks the immediate dominance that marksman veterans rely on. In ranked play, where the pace is aggressive and rotations are swift, a hero who takes time to come online can be punished hard. Many players saw her first hours as a weak lane presence, underwhelming damage, and tricky positioning. On top of that, her ultimate, which tethers her to the enemy target, cancels their displacement and allows her to reposition through walls as high potential, but also high risk. If you use it recklessly, you're dragged into the fight and you're locked in. You're vulnerable to counter lockdown or to burst. So the big question is, can Obsidia overcome this uphill climb? Can you as a player reliably reach her power spike? And in a meta full of high mobility assassins and tanky frontlines, does her unique stacking mechanic translate into winning numbers? Or is she too gimmicky for the live rank grind? That's what we're here to review. Alright, now it's time to pop open the Skull and Bones playbook and actually see why Obsidia's numbers climb from the experimental lab zone into the proper meta territory. Think of her as a slow-cooking barbecue brisket. You don't get the melt-in-your-mouth goodness in 10 minutes. But once the heat and time do their thing, chef's kiss. Let's walk through the recipe, mechanics, builds, matchups, and the small quality of life tricks players have discovered that turned a quirky idea into a reliable win condition. First up, the core mechanic. Bone shards. Obsidia generates bone energy from dealing damage with basic attacks, skills, and hero hits, which condenses into bone shards. These stack and then fire with her basic attacks. Each shard deals bonus physical damage and crucially carries a portion of her item effects. Translation? Those shards aren't just cosmetic. They inherit parts of your on-hit or attack effects, massively amplifying certain item synergies. This is official. The hero's passive and how energy converts into shards is documented by the game's hero and insight pages. Because shards fire on basic attacks and scale with stored stacks, Obsidia's damage profile reads like a hybrid between an on-hit marksman and a burst finisher. Early game feels like a homework assignment. You chip, you farm, you gather stacks. Mid-game, you hit a rhythm. Every basic attack becomes a mini volley. And late game, you're a walking shotgun of painful little bones. That delayed payoff is the reason early critics shrugged. But once players learned how to play to the spike, win percentages followed. The official hero listings and rank pages show this uptick in performance as players adapt. That brings us to itemization. The community and micro patch squad testers quickly split into two camps, the on-hit gang and the crit AD hybrid gang. On-hit setups lean into shard inheritance. items that apply strong on-hit effects such as attack speed plus on-hit damage. These stack with shards and multiply DPS during extended fights. Think of it like throwing dynamite into a blender of knives. It's messy, but extremely effective if you survive the toss. Conversely, crit builds attempt to turn her basic attacks into explosive single-target nukes, using critical multipliers so that shards plus crits deliver monstrous hits to squishies. Official in-game build guides and the Hero Codex highlight these viable routes and how the passive interacts with attack effects. So which approach works best? Well, context matters. In games where fights are prolonged and you get to stand and auto, for example when your team provides peel and front lines, on-hit attack speed builds really shine. The more autos, the more shards released, the greater the sustained damage. In fast skirmish metas with lots of burst and single pick dives, a crit AD path that aims to one-tap priority targets become preferable. Players discovered that switching build routes in match, which is adaptive builds, yields to more consistent results. And that flexibility is why Obsidia's win rate climbed as players became more experienced with her windows. Official guides and hero pages document her recommended items and endless choices that support these options. Matchup and team composition also flip the script. Early players assumed she'd be eaten alive by high-pressure assassins, and sometimes they were right. But a pattern emerged. When paired with a solid engage tank and peel support, think Tigreal plus Estes vibes, Obsidia's stacking time becomes uninterrupted, and she emerges as a late-game demolition crew. In team comps that can isolate enemies, such as pick comps, or create set-piece fights, Obsidia's shard volleys punish enemy backlines hard. On the other hand, teams that ran heavy crowd control and early snowballers made her life miserable. You either needed space or you needed to be a space creator. Evidence of shifting pick ban and win distributions across official rank dashboards show that she wins more often. Gold lane success stories pile up when teammates play around her spike. Now let's talk about player technique, the little things that change the math. Players optimize shard generation paths by targeting minions versus harassing the enemy at specific windows. They also timed their ultimate usage to secure kills without getting dragged into CC chains. And they prioritize attack speed boots earlier than normal to trigger shards faster. Think of it as learning the secret handshake of a club. Once you know when to build attack speed and when to smart cast your ultimate, your win chances jump noticeably. And finally, numbers. The cold, delicious metrics. Official MLBB rank hero stats show Obsidia's win percentages trending upward into the low 50s in many tracked regions as adoption and optimal builds spread, and that near 53% figure is reported on the game's ranked insights page, which aligns with the anecdotal success you see in gold lane discussions. That climb from launch, which is sub 46% in early hours for some regions, to 50 to 53%, correlates with broader adoption and the community's refinement of builds and playstyle, i.e., the brisket finally reached the ideal internal temp. So bottom line, Obsidia wasn't busted at launch, nor was she a deadweight gimmick. She was a learning curve hero. Once players optimized shard usage, item synergies, and comp design, she started flexing in gold lane, and those official win rate graphs started looking a lot healthier. If you treat her like a late game chef special and don't rush the plate, the scoreboard will thank you. But the moment everything clicked for Obsidia mains came in what I like to call the 15-minute revelation. Picture this. Gold lane is stable. She's sitting on a full corrosion scythe, demon hunter sword, and a windtalker. The holy trinity of shard synergy. Then suddenly, during a lord fight, a fully stacked Obsidia walks in, activates her passive, and starts shredding everything. It's like watching a wood chipper meet a fireworks show. Each shard detonates with pinpoint precision, melting tags, deleting squishies, and sending the enemy backline into full panic mode. This was the turning point, when the MLBB community finally realized that Obsidia isn't meant to win lane. She's meant to win time. Her delayed scaling isn't a weakness, it's a design choice. Once she hits that mid to late game power spike, Her shard synergy and attack speed scaling make her one of the deadliest DPS heroes in the game. Clips started flooding TikTok, Reddit, and the official MLBB community boards showing Obsidia turning losing fights into highlight reels. One famous clip from a mythic rank match showed her deleting 3 heroes in 5 seconds, all thanks to max shards and a smart position behind her tank line. That was the moment the narrative flipped. The same players who once benched her for Brody or Melissa began locking her in again. Pro players started testing her in scrims, and data from ranked dashboards showed her climbing into a 53% win rate bracket across multiple regions. Obsidia had arrived, and the Land of Dawn took notice. Obsidia's rise from a 45% win rate to around 53% perfectly captures how understanding and adaptation define the MLBB meta. Her late game scaling, optimal on-hit and hybrid builds, and refined team compositions turned her from experimental to essential. For marksman mains, she's proof that patience and timing still rule the gold lane. Obsidia's success reaffirms that the MLBB meta rewards strategy and not just brute mechanics. So, have you played Obsidia yet? And did you feel that mid-game explosion once her bone shard started flying? Drop your best builds, favorite combos, and personal win rate in the comments below. Let's compare notes. And don't forget to subscribe to Mobile Legends News for more hero performance breakdowns and meta deep dives every week. Till next time!